The U.S. Army is increasingly focused in Afghanistan on striking a balance between the soldier and the diplomat. But the shift is proving difficult. Soldiers and officers steeped in an age-old warrior tradition do not readily embrace the idea of using less firepower in order to better protect the Afghans. Meanwhile, a lack of tangible gains in the battlefield has left President Barack Obama and his security team hesitant to reinforce U.S. military efforts in the hinterlands.
10 seconds on the enemy!
60,000 of you in this district, and there's one of me. You guys got to cut me some slack and let me run this thing. Those are for him. I don't need to write a note. I'm going to pick your village. And when I come to you, you'll be able to put your name in. Now my requirement is that 1, they be unemployed, and that 2, they be chosen by their elders.
At Lieutenant Jake Kerr's remote fortress in Dangam District of Kunar province along eastern Afghanistan's embattled border with Pakistan, the stakes are high. Kerr, West Point class of 2007, leads the Army's 10th Mountain Division 132 Brigade's Combat Platoon. Kerr's mission is to interdict the so-called guerrilla rat lines that extend from Pakistan. At the same time, he says he is trying to win the support of the Afghan tribes that have strong family ties across the border.
You're looking into Bajour, Pakistan, which is one of the largest Taliban safe havens in their country. And they do a lot of their staging, organizing, and facilitating from there to launch attacks and missions into Afghanistan. That's where a lot of their weapons are coming from. If you go just south, the Mamoon tribe is down there, and the Taliban is using them to heavily recruit, and they're coming across the Kaga Pass and infiltrating into Afghanistan from there. And so, I mean, we're right where they meet us. I mean, when they come in from Pakistan, they run straight into us, and so we're literally right there. I mean, every day we're walking in and around the border. And
Kerr from Lake Placid, New York, is an ambitious warrior. But he has also been taught at West Point that his success in Afghanistan will be dictated by the friends he makes.
The people will drive your mission. They will give you the intelligence you need. They will help you fight. They will work with you. And so the better relationship you have with them, the more successful I think that you will be. And again, they will kind of guide us on the way forward to success. We're the first unit here is actually pressed out to the enemy. Has actually gone outside the district center and engaged some of these villages. The majority of the villages we've gone to, we've been the first Americans ever there. And now I know the village. I know more of the elders, I know more of the sub-villages.
Despite his focus on building relationships, the young lieutenant is also drawn to the fight. He commands a hardcore infantry unit, one in which the passions of youth and the urge to take on the enemy exert influence at all levels. His first sergeant, Kevin Devine, is anxious to see the platoon perform aggressively in combat.
You know, we're not going to change anything until we start being more offensive, you know, sending out like hunter-killer teams. Or the Kunar province is probably the, you know, I think the meats and potatoes of Afghanistan, you know, of where all the enemy personnel are coming through, and I think this is where the fight's at.
With the mountains around here, someone's always going to get on the high ground above you. And I want to get out there and take it to them. I want to find out who's moving the weapons, where they're going, and I want to go hit that house before they get time to organize those weapons and use them against us. The 240s and the snipers are going to stay here to give us support by fire.
Counter-insurgency in Afghanistan, as it does anywhere, requires the right mix of diplomacy and force. Kerr is learning, however, that when shooting starts in Afghanistan, good diplomacy is the first casualty. This patrol has been billed as a tea-drinking affair with key leaders. In order to protect the secrecy of the operation, Kerr's fellow West Pointer, Major Andy Knight of Ann Arbor, Michigan, does not send an advance team ahead to talk to villagers or map the terrain. Combat Platoon is about to face its first ambush. 5 hours earlier, Kerr and his men have already scaled the cliffs above us to our south. His gunmen hover and wait as villagers call out, "The Americans are coming! The Americans are coming!" Kerr's men fire on 3 suspected insurgents.
Now, if they're running away and they've got weapons, they're dead.
One had a brown shawl and gray pants. Break.
Descriptions.
My gunner's pretty sure he wounded the one in white.
The insurgents have taken cover in a stream bed. Meanwhile, Afghan soldiers in our party, uninformed of Kerr's position on the bluff above, have accidentally opened fire on the U.S. fighters.
Of the village with the woman in the green dress on the roof, tending to the animals, correct?
The U.S. Army's air power and maps cannot pinpoint the foe.
Yeah, it's
Way up there. No, that's way up there.
Yeah.
The insurgents, now beyond Kerr's sight, have vanished.
Yeah, Roger. I think we're playing the hot-cold game right now, and you guys are getting hotter.
Here's what I'm thinking is going to happen. Right now, they're either over the ridge in the other valley, or they've got a wounded personnel from the Apache fire, and they're holed up there. Break.
Kerr advises his major to pursue the guerrillas deeper into the valley. But this time, as is often the case in Afghanistan, the hole is dry.
We've seen a couple shepherds since you guys have been in there, but nothing hostile over.
For his first battle, the young West Pointer receives a Purple Heart for a shrapnel injury in his back. Another fighter is medevaced out. 2 insurgents are believed to have been killed. It is a battlefield victory for Combat Platoon, but a loss for the diplomats. For hours, invisible insurgents have watched as U.S. helicopters have fired Hellfire missiles into the impregnable Afghan rock. Though no civilians have died, residents are angry and dismayed. They have heard no talk of development nor offers of security. On a subsequent air assault, Kerr's frustration with the hunt for an elusive foe comes to a head. He is upset that he's lost the element of surprise.
I'm not sure about this. It wasn't a chopper situation, it was light dark. I wanted to be in here at night. I wanted the support by fire set up at night. For whatever reason, the assets were only available at a certain time, and so this is the only time we could do it. So they saw us coming down the mountain from the second we were here.
One of the young officer's lessons after 6 months in the field has been that diplomacy is often the strongest weapon in his arsenal.
I want the Afghani people to run it. I'm not here to run your country, I'm here to help you run your country.
But even Kerr's first sergeant recognizes great barriers to winning the support of the Afghans, who doubt the Americans are in Afghanistan for anything more than to fight their own enemies.
They're probably basing all this stuff off of the past. You know, when we were here helping Afghanistan fight against the Russians, we came here to help them, and then once all that stuff was done, we didn't continue to help them like we're doing now, building schools.
I told you I would try and help you out with all those problems that you said, and now I'm back to deliver.
Okay.
I'm not a magic man, I'm a soldier. I can't just make things appear, but I can get them for you.
Kerr is learning that in Afghanistan, the power of persuasion goes a long way. When the Taliban posts written warnings at night that Afghan collaborators with the Americans will be killed, Kerr seizes the initiative and issues his own letters. His letters list the names of known insurgent sympathizers and defend his Afghan friends. He is elated when villagers start to report more insurgent movements. At a nearby mountaintop redoubt, Kerr's combat platoon meets with an embattled unit of the Afghan border police. Kerr sits with a pair of wizened Afghans, one a veteran who fought against the Soviets, another who fought with them.
Well, like I said, if we can put money in the pockets of the people here and give them jobs, they'll stop accepting it from the Taliban, and then when they've got no place to stay, we'll be able to kill them.
The Afghans are not so sure that the guerrillas can be so easily killed. They say that the guerrillas work closely with Al-Qaeda in Pakistan. They want Kerr to help them undercut their foe by providing jobs and building Afghanistan's own security forces.
And you also must understand that
Though it sometimes looks as though U.S. military strategy is in the hands of young platoon leaders like Kerr, there are higher powers at work. President Barack Obama and his security team must still determine if they want more units like Combat Platoon out in the field risking their lives in border villages. The grueling work of such units comes with no guarantees of success. For Kerr, the choices are equally daunting. On the one hand, Kerr's superiors want him to be an expert warrior, But a new Afghan strategy calls for restraint and diplomacy, creating greater risk for his own soldiers.
Well, you'll never kill all the enemy. You'll never completely guard the border. You'll never do any of that. I mean, they'll always recruit. There will always be feuds between families and tribes. The point of victory is when the Afghani government, the Afghani villages that live on the border, when they are strong enough to be able to deal with their own problems, that's victory.
Kerr himself says he remains committed to that end, however distant in the future.